Good morning, friends. Today is April 4th. It is the day before Easter, the day after Good Friday. Today is like called the Silent Day because it is after the death and before the resurrection of Jesus Christ. But what I really wanted to talk to you guys about today is the situation and incident that had happened with my knee while I was on trail. Before I head back out to trail, I want to give you guys a little update about everything that had happened. So the day before I climbed Albert Mountain and the day after I entered into North Carolina, I had a really bad day with my knee. It started hurting the day that I hiked into Deep Gap and stayed there where the Trail Magic was. But I thought it would be fine the next morning because, normally your muscles hurt and then you sleep and then they get better. You hike during the day. It's fine, blah, blah, blah. Situation repeats. So anyway, I got up that next morning and it was just so painful. Just hiking up to Standing Indian Mountain. I was like, oh my goodness. And I mean, the trail after that isn't that bad. I mean, you've got some down, some little cruisy section, but it was just so hard to even walk on the flats or the very low grade downhill. So I pulled up short. I think it was only like 5.4 miles or something into Beach Gap, I believe is where I stayed. And, but here enters in where my God is so good. I was really struggling emotionally, physically, and mentally that day because I didn't know what was going on with my body. I didn't know if I was going to be able to continue on because there was no way I could have hiked any further than I did. And I was like, Lord, what's happening? And I'm sitting in the rhododendrons on this log there, and I start to see passing on the trail was Sky Pilot, one of the Appalachian Trail chaplains. And I just hollered out to him and I said, hey, Sky Pilot, I need you. And he come in there and he sat down and I asked him to pray for me. And he prayed for me. And then I immediately felt peace. I stopped crying. I was like, okay, we can do this. And then I saw another guy start to walk by and he had his knee all taped up. And I said, hey, can you come help me and show me how you do that to your knee? And wound up, he was one of the Expedition Warriors. Trog is his trail name. And I was so blessed to have him stop by. He asked me some things and some questions about my knee. He helped me. Well, he actually taped it up for me. And he said, if you're not going to protest, I'm going to stay here with you tonight and make sure you're okay. He had already sent word up the trail to his other Expedition Warrior pals and, told them the situation. And he said, don't be surprised if tomorrow the cavalry basically shows up and we're helping you get your stuff out of trail and getting you off of here, helping you get out safely. And that was just so amazing. He actually walked out a side trail to check the safety of it and the terrain to make sure it was safe for me to hike out the next morning if I needed to, with the help of others. So basically, I'm just so blessed that that had happened. Had those two people prayed with me, stayed with me, made sure I was safe and okay. I'm very thankful for that. I have no doubt in my mind that God placed them there when I needed them the most. Then fast forward the next day, obviously you guys have seen the video. I went up and over Albert Mountain. I had no issues, did 12 miles that day, no pain at all. Next day, hiked into Rock Gap, no pain at all. Had no idea there was even any issue going on. Went into Franklin, got my resupply box, got back on trail at Rock Gap, hiked to Winding Stair, had Trail Magic, beautiful day, no issues. Started hiking out of Winding Stair Gap, and about half a mile up, it started hurting. Nowhere near as bad as it did the day before, but I was thinking about it, and I'm like, oh, and it just kept paying attention to how bad it was, if it was getting worse or if it was the same. And I still had quite a ways to go to where my camp was going to be that night. And so I just reached out to Wendy and Scott at Gorgeous Stays. Scott is a chiropractor, and he also deals a lot with other, I don't know how to explain it, but he's very knowledgeable and has a business. So, and he'd helped me with my hip the prior year before. So I reached out to them and I let them know what was going on and asked if they could pick me up at Wyatt Gap. Absolutely they could, but couldn't get me till 6:30 p.m. worked out fine because it was going to take me that long to get there anyway. Just because of I was trying to be ginger with my knee and make sure I was going slow and making sure I wasn't doing any further damage. Because at this point, anytime that I would kind of maybe squat down a little bit, I would see like a little bubble around that muscular area at the inner right part above my kneecap on the left side. And anyway, so I went up Siler Bald and, I'd already passed the shelter. And then Wendy from Gorgeous Stays had reached out and she's like, hey, if you're safe and feel okay, can you camp tonight at the shelter? I have an incident here that came up. She had to take a hiker to the emergency room and she wasn't really able to come get me that night. And I was like, sure, I can camp, but I had already passed the shelter. So I'm like, I'm sure I'll find something. In my mind, I was like, oh, I'll just stay at the picnic area at Wyatt Gap. And then I messaged her because I started thinking about it. I'm like, I just don't feel comfortable staying there right by the road. It was probably fine, but I just didn't feel comfortable. And then by that time, she couldn't come get me. She said, let me reach out to a few people and see if I can find you a shuttle. By this time now, I have no cell service, and I'm just going off of SOS text messaging via the iPhone, which I soon found out that if you have an Android, the message may go through to you, but you may not be able to receive a message back from them. And I'm like, great. So everybody else I reached out to had an Android, and I was like, perfect. I'm like, well, Lord, what am I doing? What is going on? So fast forward through all this information. I get down to the picnic area, still trying to find a ride. I have nothing. I'm hearing cars because they're right there. And there was a guy there camped out. He wasn't sketchy or anything. I just did not feel comfortable staying there. And it may have been something more divine than just my uncomfortableness at the time. As I get down to the road, I'm like, oh, I told my husband I wasn't going to hitchhike, but I'm like, I'm just going to put my thumb out and see if anybody stops and if they're going the direction I need to go. 4 cars passed by. They were like, yeah, no. And so I finally get a message on my Garmin. By the way, my Garmin wasn't really sending or receiving messages either very good. So that was frustrating. So I get to the road and I start to hear a car again as I finally get a Garmin message from a friend. And so I'm like, I'm just going to put my thumb out. I put my thumb out. She stops. I mean, almost slams on her brakes. And I go over, and this is where I met Kelly. She took me into Gorgeous Stays, and immediately I get in the car, and it was just divine appointment. We had such a wonderful conversation about the Lord. We talked about the trail and the Lord all the way to to Gorgeous Stays, basically down the road from the NOC. And we both knew at that time we were supposed to meet each other. It was just, we felt like it was a divine appointment. So I just know that God has plans that are higher than our plans and thoughts that are higher than our thoughts. So, I don't know if this knee injury or whatever was going on was orchestrated or not, so we could both be at the same place at the same time and meet each other. All I know is God works in mysterious ways, and I'm so thankful to be an instrument for him. If, that is what needed to happen for me to fall into the right place at the right time to meet Miss Kelly. It was a great meeting, and I'm so happy to have met her. So that's what happened with that situation. I will also let you guys know, Monday after Easter, I will be getting back on trail. It's going to be doing a little bit different. I will be heading northbound from Newfound Gap in the Smoky, since I live right here, and getting off at like Standing Bear, and then coming back, and then I'm going to head I'm going to do a day hike from Old Klingman's or Kuohi back down to Newfound Gap, come home for the night, get cleaned up, get everything packed up for my trip back south. So then Friday or Saturday, I haven't confirmed that yet with my husband, he's going to take me to Klingman's or Kuohi, and I will head southbound back to where I got off at Wyatt Gap, and then he will come pick me up. I will stay home, do a 0 day then, and then get back on trail at Standing Bear, Green Corner Road, and head northbound. So that is what's happening with my trip right now. I am so excited to get back on trail, and hopefully, you guys will continue to follow, and that the Lord will just open up all kinds of opportunities for everyone out there. Remember, guys, to hike hard but pray harder. Bye.